Hi there, you're on Gossip Says channel. Enjoy watching, subscribe and like it. It's growing our community.
Story 1. Is my 20NB close friend, former one-night stand, 19NB, giving me mixed signals. So I have this really close friend that honestly means the world to me. Me and this friend have always been really flirty with each other, but I used to just brush it off as a joke between friends. Until one night, after we both had a little too much to drink, we ended up sleeping together. While we were both fine with it for the most part, I felt kinda stressed about it for a variety of reasons. Pregnancy risk, how suddenly it all happened, worried that it might make our friendship weird, etc. Because of this, I avoided talking to them for a couple weeks. During this time, they invited me to a party, but I turned down the invitation because I still felt kinda weird about it. At that party, they went through a really messed up and traumatic event. Won't specify what in case it gets the post removed. And I wasn't there to protect them. If I'm being honest, I kinda hate myself for not being there to keep them safe. Because of what happened, they just shut themselves away from everyone for a while and their mental health got scarily bad. I did my best to be there for them and support them, but there wasn't much I could do. By the time they were starting to feel a little better, I was overseas having to deal with some family trouble for a few months. So we ended up not seeing each other for almost a year. During this time, I finally had a chance to properly think about everything and realized that I have romantic feelings for them. When I came back and we hung out for the first time in almost a year, I told them how I felt. Unfortunately for me, it turns out that they're now dating someone, 19F. I told them that I wouldn't try to get in the way of their relationship because they seemed really happy. However, later that night, after we had a few drinks, they started getting very handsy with me, pushing me down on the bed and getting on top of me, backing me into a corner and leaning in really close, even dry humping me at one point. At the time I was awkward with it, and even started leaning in for a kiss at one point, but stopped myself. We again agreed not to, but later on they kept being handsy with me. We ended up falling asleep together while cuddling. So I feel really weird about this whole thing. While nothing actually happened, it was all above the clothes and we didn't even kiss, I still feel conflicted. On one hand, I'm honestly in love with them. They've been there for me through everything. I'm insanely attracted to them, and I just felt so safe and happy when we were cuddling. But on the other hand, I know that they seem really happy in their new relationship, and I don't want to spoil that by being that one asshole friend that throws a wrench in things. I'm so bloody jealous of their new girlfriend to the point that it keeps me up at night. I'm also feeling so confused at the mixed signals my friend was giving me that night. Us agreeing that they're in a relationship and we won't do anything, but them going on to spend most of the night basically groping me. So I'd love an outside perspective from someone to help me see things a little clearer and some advice on how to go forward with this situation. Story 2. My old lady, 21F, cheated on me, 23M. I need advice. The only people that I can talk to about this are my family members, and they're all straight dickheads. So me and my old lady have been together for 3 years now, and we've had a wonderful relationship in my opinion. We go out and do things together, and we make sure the other knows that we love them. But something happened. When we first got together, she was living with her best friend and both of their moms. So I knew her best friend before I knew her. We dated a few times, but never went anywhere. Well, me and my old lady started hanging out and talking a lot, and that made her friend, my ex, mad and caused a rift between the two of them, because I guess she still liked me. So the friend went and got with my old lady's ex, and that caused even more problems. It got to the point where my wife moved out, so I moved her in with me at my father's house, and that was it for about 6 to 7 months. After that time, she messaged her ex out of nowhere asking why he got with her friend, and if he missed her because she missed him. I confronted her about it, and she said she didn't know what she was thinking or why she messaged him at all. We talked and worked through it, and we were doing great again up until about 5 months ago. We got real distant to each other. She was always bitching at me and tripping about everything like it would be the end of the world if things didn't go her way. I was on the verge of losing my job because everything was slowing down and our customers left our company for cheaper labor. I do tires and road service for a living. But all that piled on me mentally, and I grew distant, not just to her, but to my family, friends, and coworkers. I stopped caring. But about 2 months ago, our relationship picked back up strongly, and it was great, but something felt off, so I went through her phone and found out she had been cheating with a coworker. The only reason I believe they stopped talking was because he had a wife and moved away back to her. I read some of the messages and she said she was falling for him. I questioned her the next morning and she told me she was sorry and she don't know what made her talk to him. She said she thought that I wasn't going anywhere and that I didn't love her anymore, but I told her every day that I did. Around the time she was talking to this dude, we were taking our nephew to the zoo and having a blast at times. She said she didn't think I wanted to move out of my dad's house, but we both were looking and the only places we could get were apartments, or we had to get rid of our dog, and she didn't want to do either. I didn't either, but if she wanted her own house that bad, I would have done it for her. But it fucks me up because I had plenty of opportunities to do her wrong and multiple women that were trying to holler at me, and I never gave one of them attention. I was always about business. Y'all busy today? How's business? Y'all got some money rolling in, huh? Just basic ass conversation that couldn't lead to nothing else. And if it did, I tell them I got to get back to work and hightail it out of there. As I know the instincts of a man. I know enough time of talking to someone too much or too deeply that you'll start to develop some type of feelings or relationship with that person. So the only person I allowed to have a relationship with me like that was my old lady, and that's what fucks me up. She let another man have that connection with her. And I don't know how to feel about it. She says they never had any physical contact besides one hug because they worked different shifts. And I want to believe that she feels bad and sorry for it, and she wants to do right. But I don't want to waste another 3 to 5 years, and she lose interest in me again. Advice? Questions about the situation for a deeper perspective are welcome, but it fucks me up because I had plenty of opportunities to do her wrong and multiple women that were trying to holler at me, and I never gave one of them attention. I was always about business. Y'all busy today? How's business? Y'all got some money rolling in, huh? Just basic ass conversation that couldn't lead to nothing else. And if it did, I tell them I got to get back to work and hightail it out of there. As I know the instincts of a man. I know enough time of talking to someone too much or too deeply that you'll start to develop some type of feelings or relationship with that person. So the only person I allowed to have a relationship with me like that was my old lady, and that's what fucks me up. She let another man have that connection with her. And I don't know how to feel about it. She says they never had any physical contact besides one hug because they worked different shifts. And I want to believe that she feels bad and sorry for it, and she wants to do right. But I don't want to waste another 3 to 5 years, and she lose interest in me again. Advice? Questions about the situation for a deeper perspective are welcome. I work in India and joined my current school just 3 months ago as a music teacher. Today, a parent called the head of the middle school and asked for a meeting with me due to some bullying her daughter had gone through. She was auditioning for the school choir along with 2 of her friends, but was unable to overcome her nervousness and sing. I was very concerned and I readily agreed. The Hobie spoke to me in the presence of the chair of the Performing Arts Department. She said that the student reported to her parents that I told her shameful for not being able to sing. I was shocked at the accusation and told her what had happened and what I said. She told me, just say it was a miscommunication. If need be, apologize to the parent and just finish the matter so we can move on. I thought that was a good approach. When we met, both parents were very hostile with me. They insisted I had told their daughter that it's shameful she can't sing. This was not at all the feedback I gave her. And of course the other 2 students were there to prove it. But instead of waiting till we could speak to them. This happened yesterday on Friday and school is off for the students until Monday. The parents decided to come in and speak with me. When I said, it may have been a miscommunication, the parent said, so you're saying she's lying? I responded calmly and said, not at all, but this was my feedback to her, and I shared the feedback. The parent started going on about how teachers should be more careful about language, and that I had emotionally traumatized my student. She said, my daughter never complains about the teachers. She mostly keeps to herself. But she has said that this really hurt her. Initially, she was just telling me about her day, but when I heard her say that you said it was shameful that she cannot sing, I pressed her to tell me about it. She said, "It's no big deal," but I had to push till I got the matter out of her. My daughter then started crying. I have never seen her this distraught. I work in the field of education myself, and I have never seen such a disgusting teacher as you. What exactly are your educational qualifications? What kind of achievements do you have as a human being? Her daughter is head girl of the middle school, and you have no idea how much she knows about music. I have sang in many places myself, and I will not tolerate you speaking this way to my daughter. In this whole conversation, my Hody barely reacted to the parent who questioned me several times about my achievements as a human being, and used profanity in the office. It turns out, she also works in our school on the administrative side, and that she is neighbors with my Hody. In fact, the student in question has been known to my Hody since she was born. Initially in the conversation, I was calm and stuck to my points, but the more personal she got, I'm sad to admit that I did react. She had been ranting for quite some time, and there were already tears in my eyes. When she asked me what my educational qualifications were, I snapped and said them. She then went on to say, "So what? It doesn't seem like the training was great," or something to that effect. It's been a few hours since this happened. I'm not sure if the matter has been escalated to the principal or vice principal, or if it's just being kept under wraps for now. I get the feeling the heads of school will not want to take my side. It's a very fancy private school with exorbitant fees where they are very lax in discipline. I've never seen such nonchalant disrespect towards all teachers in the school, regardless of how good or nice those teachers are. I can't quit as such. During my master's degree in music education in the US, I contracted an autoimmune condition in 2019 and subsequently had to take a break from work in 2021 and 2022 to get treated. I really need the money and the experience, and the school is very famous, which will help me build my work experience. I have spent a lot of money on my master's from a very famous music school, and I need to make that money back, as well as do substantial things to stay relevant in the job market. Is there anybody who has any ideas on what I should do? Can I somehow escape this terrible work environment without compromising on my salary or the pedigree I have to maintain? Story 4. My 31F husband, 34M, regularly raises his voice in public and calls me a cunt. Is it a red flag? I am just looking for an advice from people who have been married longer than we have been. My 31F husband, 34M, and I have dated for about 8 years and married for a bit over 1 year. I am at a point in our relationship where I don't know whether his anger issues are red flags or whether this is just normal marriage stuff people deal with. To give you some examples, we recently got a puppy and now puppy is going to puppy school. We see it as a family activity, so we always go together, although he is always the one that does the trainings as we live in his country, and I don't yet speak the language very well. Today we went to class, and he got annoyed at the puppy for not listening well, but then snapped at me saying he wishes I could just disappear. He wasn't yelling, but his voice was raised. People did hear, but no one did anything, so I left them be and went to the car and waited for them to be done so we could go home. This other time we had just moved and I was helping him carry some furniture inside. He yells at me and tells me I am a cunt for not wanting to bring the furniture on the second floor. He wanted that furniture on the first floor. Pretty sure our neighbors heard him as he was pretty loud, and we were on our driveway with the furniture when he yelled. I went inside crying as I absolutely hate him doing this in the open like that. If I forget to get a key to the house and he has to open the door, he opens and calls me a cunt for not bringing keys with me. My parents came to visit us for 2 weeks from abroad, and a week into the visit, he started yelling at me for booking an appointment with my nail salon because he didn't want to spend money. It frustrated him so much, he packed his stuff and went to his parents for the rest of the week. He took our puppy with him. When I talked to him about this, he said it was the wiser thing to do, because otherwise he would have been yelling all the time, and he didn't want to yell at my parents or have them see him that way. He said that actually he wasn't upset about the nail appointment, but rather that work was stressing him out and that his car broke, so external things, and he was just stressed that we wouldn't make it with the money we had until the end of the month. I personally do not understand this because we've never struggled financially, and we do have money aside for these types of situations, and we have never had to use that pile. I think we communicate well, and I think in general we don't have issues, but when he calls me a cunt or raises his voice at me, I absolutely hate it. My mom yelled a lot when I was growing up, and I've grown to absolutely resent people that yell, and I cannot stand it at all. I tried explaining to him that I don't like him yelling at me, especially if other people can hear, and that if he has an issue to come talk to me, but he doesn't. He says he will try, as he does see my point, but I really dislike being yelled at in public. I just cannot stand it. Last year we went abroad with a friend of mine, and he yelled multiple times during that trip. She came to me at some point asking why he yells about stuff normal people wouldn't find triggering enough, and if everything is ok. But so far all I do is shrug it off and say it is who he is. I do have to say that recently he also doesn't even apologize for yelling. I don't talk to him. He doesn't talk to me for days after yelling. He knows why I close off. But he doesn't think it is necessary to apologize. If I bring it up to him and tell him I expect that he apologizes, he sometimes does and sometimes doesn't. I have to say that I don't think we have money issues, but from his perspective, because we don't have thousands of dollar in our account at the end of the month, that stresses him out. We do make enough to pay our bills and to put money aside, but as I said, it is not thousands at the end of the month.